big money! Give it back!
Give me back my friend!
But I killed him already!
Fine. I'll give you your dollar. Here's your dollar!
Yeah, this was a really weird show. Adventure Time first graced our screens from April of 2010 all the way to September of 2018. It was weird, wacky, and full of heart, and now stands as one of the most beloved animated series to date. But what I'm here to talk about is how Adventure Time is an anomaly amongst animated shows, from way back then and still to today. When most shows are developed, they tend to be grouped into either episodic or serialized. Episodic means that episodes are made with the intent that they can be aired in any order, without worry of plot or continuity. For these kinds of shows, they just need to establish characters, the world, and what the audience can expect from it.
That's it! I know what we're gonna do today!
Serialized shows, however, are made with specific character arcs, continuity, and plot in mind. Neither is necessarily better than the other, but for a long time, shows typically ran episodic. Before streaming became the new norm, most shows would need to air on a TV network's airing schedule. This meant audiences couldn't binge shows or rewatch episodes to get a refresher on what happened before. And so, episodic shows became the default for a very long time. But so then, what's the big deal? Adventure Time looks and feels episodic, and it was for its initial seasons. But so then, what makes it different from all the other episodic shows during that era? Shows like Chowder, Regular Show, Phineas and Ferb, and so on. Well, when you ask most fans of Adventure Time what's the most appealing part of the show, the answer you're likely going to get is often the characters. Unlike most other episodic animated shows, where the cast and the world are reset to an established status quo, Adventure Time's world and cast aren't. Instead, the cast of Adventure Time grow and change. They further develop their relationship with one another, and in the process, the show establishes a sense of continuity. And while there is development in Adventure Time, the show never actually became a serialized show. There was no grand overarching plot or narrative. No predetermined arc for the characters to go through. The characters instead were allowed to just exist. And as the show progressed, Adventure Time moved away from its episodic roots, and instead entered what can be described as Sandbox storytelling. For those of you who may not know, Sandbox storytelling is a game design term. It means instead of following an overarching plot and specific main characters like you would in a serialized narrative, the series instead follows the world and the characters therein. Who and what to explore is often the player, or in this case, writer's choice. As the series progressed, Finn and Jake were no longer the sole main focus of the show, and instead we got to see the other characters take a step into the limelight. And this is ultimately what led Adventure Time's characters to be as beloved as they are today. Creator of Gravity Falls, Alex Hirsch, had this to say about writing and running a successful show. It's all about the characters. At the end of the day, that's why people tune in, to hang out with the characters that they love, and that's the most important part. What Adventure Time accomplished that no other series has done or has managed to do since is be a series that's almost entirely dedicated to characters and their development with no predestination or overarching plot in mind. And I don't think we'll ever get another series like Adventure Time ever again. The environment for shows being made today has changed so much since Adventure Time first aired in 2010. In a present era of shows getting cancelled if they don't perform better than initially expected, Adventure Time was made during an era when there was more room to play. The show didn't have to worry as hard about winning over an audience, and as a result, was given more space to endear the audience to its world and explore its characters in a more thoughtful and unrestricted way. By doing this, Adventure Time was allowed to evolve and become something truly special. And while there was no true overarching plot for the show, there was overarching character development. And what makes this even more interesting is that this was an intentional pivoting decision. On December 5th of 2011, a little over a year and a half from the show's premiere, they released a two-parter episode called Holly Jolly Secrets, which served as Adventure Time's holiday special. By doing this, they guaranteed that at least once a year, this specific two-parter would be played and give audiences a hard look at one of the show's biggest instances of tonal and character shifting. In Holly Jolly Secrets, we learn that Ice King is not just another crazy, wacky character in this world, but is instead a man from the world before it became Ooh, and made mad and immortal by his own magic crown. The show, around its third season, played around with character backstory, hinting some stuff here and there, but this reveal was the beginning of the shift for the entire show. It would change what audiences could expect from the show going forward. When you engage with a piece of media, you develop an expectation for them. You know, based off of prior archetypes and characters, how someone's going to act, where a story is going to go, and ultimately what you can expect out of a series. What Adventure Time does beautifully is that it breaks these expectations in very fun and organic ways, recontextualizing characters that audiences would have otherwise originally waved off without making it feel like a retcon, and instead became about expanding upon and exploring the characters. Ice King's actions were given a deeper explanation, and as a result was made much more tragic. He wasn't just another wacky and silly cartoon antagonist, but instead was a man at the end of the world, trying to help and survive. Adventure Time from this point on couldn't go back to what it once was. Let's take a look at fan favorite Marceline the Vampire Queen. Marceline's original introduction is goofy. She's a vampire who's been around for a very long time and has claimed Finn and Jake's house as her own. She's wacky and zany, and this is not the current mental image of what people think of when they think of her. When most people think of Marceline now, it's this cool and tragic bisexual character who survived the apocalypse with her basically adoptive father, Simon, and is now vibing with her probable war criminal GF, Princess Bubblegum. Adventure Time has done this a lot with each of its characters, no longer satisfied with just telling wacky one-off adventures, but now willing to explore characters and ideas in a more grounded and real way. This kid named Finn the Human? He grew up, and he learned to sort himself out in this weird wacky world. And Princess Bubblegum? Yeah, not the generic princess anymore, is she? And Jake the dog? Jake literally becomes a dad, and then a grandpa. And this little bundle of joy right here? They're perfect. Adventure Time is special because it was allowed to explore its characters without any expectation or goal in mind for them. Characters were allowed to organically grow and become more real as a result, imperfections and all.
Hey, they kept living their lives.
They weren't guaranteed to fix their relationships, or have long, life-lasting romances, or anything else for that matter. And in doing so, the audience was engaged, curious to see how these characters that they've grown to love so much would change and develop. And it's why we keep coming back for more.
That's the end.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Yeah, Adventure Time's a really fascinating show where, on paper you wouldn't expect it to work, but it did. And I don't know, I think it's a very interesting case study of what a show can do and what it can be when it's given the creative freedom to explore. But yeah, I hope you liked the video and that you like and subscribe.
Goodbye.